July jobs report, Donald Trump lost his mind. It showed significant revisions. This economy is tanking. His tariffs are causing massive problems. In fact, just today, Tyson Foods announced they're laying off 5,000 workers in Pennsylvania and Kansas as a result of these tariffs. We're seeing this happen more and more. We're seeing companies announce they're going to be raising prices. And so that's what we are facing. Now, again, Trump doesn't want to hear that. He's trying to suggest that, oh, his tariffs are fine, they're wonderful, and how they're just bringing in all this money. But the reality is it is causing prices to go up. When you look at his polling data, he is horrible on the numbers. Now, when we start talking about unemployment numbers, it rose. Black unemployment rose from 6.0 to 6.8%. It's at 7%. For black men, for spiking from 5.2 to 7.7. Black women dropped to 6.78. All of these things are happening. Morgan Harper is the Director of Policy and Advocacy of the American Economic Liberties Project, and she joins us right now. Morgan, always glad to have you on the show. I mean, look, here's what I think happened here, Morgan. We saw Trump comes in, inaugurated January 20th. So immediate tariffs. Companies like, okay, all right, we're going to bite the bullet. Okay, so we're going to suck it up. All right, so February, March, April, May. All of a sudden, they like, we can't keep eating this. Now you begin to see companies, Procter & Gamble's and others announce, yeah, we're going to start increasing our prices because the tariffs are real. Senator Rand Paul, Republican, he keeps saying it's a tax. It's a tax. And so it is tanking the economy, pure and simple.
Yeah, I mean, the main point with the tariffs, or the way that Trump has approached the tariffs, is that they are not being done in any sort of strategic way. It's completely unpredictable. He's changing his mind month to month, sometimes week to week, sometimes day to day. And so it's impossible for companies, even companies that say want to do the right thing and actually make a plan for themselves, and a business plan, economic plan, just taking in all the data and trying to do right by their employees and run a good company. It would be challenging to do that. But I do think we also need to be real about the fact that a lot of companies are using this uncertainty as cover to do things that they might have also wanted to do anyway. You know, they wanted to be able to shed some of the employees. Their main responsibility is to make sure that their stock prices keep going up. As long as they still are, making their profits, then they're going to do that. But there's no denying that the way that Trump has approached tariffs, by again, doing it in an unpredictable way and also not pairing it with any sort of domestic investment plan. I want to come to the Apple example, but just that there is no subbing in for domestic manufacturing. What are we seeing? Quite the opposite, actually. From this latest jobs data, it's another month where we're seeing a loss of manufacturing jobs. We're seeing a decline in the industries that actually produce goods. Where's the only source of growth, job growth in the economy right now? It's coming from healthcare and social assistance. Well, that is not an economic boom. You can't build a whole economy around people getting sick. Now, we have a lot of companies that are making a lot of money off of how sick we might be getting, but that is not enough to sustain the type of growth that we have been seeing for the past few years. And so this was a jobs report that really, I agree with you, Roland, really started to show in very stark terms, because we spotted over the last couple of months some of these indicators as like, okay, jobs are going up, but there's these other indications of all is not well with the labor market. But this was very, very clear. One, correcting what the numbers were from the past couple of months to show the reality that in some cases we only saw 10,000, between 10 and 20,000 jobs being created per month, down from estimates of over 100,000. And again, that the types of jobs that are being created have nothing to do with the promises that this administration has been making to bring manufacturing back to the U.S.
And they've been lying. Oh, manufacturing's up. It's up. Like, stop it, y'all. I love that video of the white man in Montana who was touting he voted for Trump. Now he's posting videos showing that, oh, yeah, dude, although your product is made in America, the parts that you get come from overseas. As a result, boom, tariff tax.
Yeah, and this is the other dynamic that's at play. And so I'll bring it back to the Apple example because, so for example, like Trump announced today he's going to raise the tariffs on India. Well, there's a scenario where you're doing that. And because a company like Apple does manufacture a lot of their products, a lot of the iPhones that many of us might use in India, that is going to change their calculus as a company. Can we continue to afford to manufacture things in India? Is it going to be better for us? I'm not saying that was where they would have landed, that they would move manufacturing immediately back to the U.S., but it would at least force the conversation. What we're actually hearing from these deals is that Apple's going to be subject to a whole different tariff regime, that they're not even necessarily going to have to play by the same rules as every other company in the economy that might actually have to pay those new higher tariffs if they are manufacturing goods in India. So this is another example of a dynamic that we're seeing from this administration is it's not deals with countries that are bringing our manufacturing back. It's deals between companies in this administration for the administration to get whatever they want and the company to get for whatever they want. So yes, Apple has made this announcement that they're going to be putting money into U.S. manufacturing, but I don't think anyone's under any illusion that this is a significant change in how Apple is going to be producing a lot of their products, which will continue to be almost entirely produced overseas.
Bring in my panel here. Andrew, question for Morgan.
Yes, Morgan. So how do you see the impact of the tariffs affecting the long-term growth of the economy as a whole? Here in Washington, D.C., we're seeing a sharp decline and, sharp increase in restaurant prices and a sharp decline in new restaurants opening. How do you see that affecting the overall economy, not just in manufacturing?
Yeah, I mean, the way that these tariffs are being done is going to have likely very negative effects on the economy. And to your point, we're already starting to see that. And this is something that we've discussed, over these last couple of months, that small businesses are going to have to retract in particular. It is just not going to be a time where most businesses are going to feel comfortable making any sort of expansion moves or hiring more people or, we're going to test out this new product. No, because ultimately the costs of whatever new product you're trying have probably gone up. And there is no alternative supply that is going to be cheaper. And so I think we are going to continue. And this was actually one of the really interesting things from last week, because, I don't know if you saw this, Andrew, but I think it was Wednesday or so, a lot of the business press was just like, they were so excited, like heralding, we've got GDP growth. Everybody said that Trump was taking the economy, but look, GDP is up. So all those people were wrong, kind of F them. We made money. Cool. What was really going on there? It was that a lot of companies at the beginning of the administration were bringing in a lot of imports. As those imports were going down over the last month or so because of the impact of tariffs and people not feeling as comfortable bringing goods in from other places, then the way that GDP is calculated, that was almost artificially making it seem like GDP was going up. But it was just because we had this very unusual behavior due to the tariffs and how people were importing. And so it only took one more day after all the business press was like, Trump's on it. We've got great GDP growth. Everybody was worried that the economy was going to be going down. And then we get these job numbers that, like I was saying, were just a really clear sign that for most of the businesses in our economy, this is really, really bad. And as businesses are hit, then workers are hit. And then ultimately, all of us as consumers are going to see things like increased prices. Not just increased prices, also the lack of availability of goods. And I'm hearing from this from people already in my network. I don't know if you are too, where you try to order something and then you get a response from the business, especially if it's a somewhat smaller business. Oh, we just don't have that anymore. We don't know when we're going to have it again because companies are not able to really predict how much longer they're going to be able to produce the goods that they have been able to put together over the last couple of years, or whether or not that's going to be feasible for them just from a money perspective based on the increased costs.
Tyler?
Yes, thank you again. And so they throw on the paper numbers at us, but folks' lived experience for many of us tell a different story. As we know, wages can't keep up with inflation. Housing is unaffordable. Medication is unaffordable. Student debt remains crushing. So we can't celebrate these statistics on paper while people are choosing between rent, medicine, and groceries. What does the job reports miss when it comes to Black and the younger workforce, and how might the proposed tariffs hike affect working class Americans and particularly Black and brown communities?
Yeah, great question. I mean, I think this is one of the issues that came up in Trump's response to this job report data is, he decided he wanted to fire the person who leads the agency because he didn't like the numbers, which, that's ridiculous. But there is a real question to be had, or a question to be answered over the quality of the data. Is it reflective of businesses in the Black community? Are we getting enough of the indicators of how young people are experiencing what's happening in the economy? There's been a way of collecting this data over a very long period of time. It involves getting survey responses from businesses. And is that going to be enough moving forward to give us an accurate picture of what the economy is looking like, especially in this highly unpredictable environment? I think the answer for a lot of people, whether you're expert or a person out there just observing what's going on, is no, that maybe we do need to think about different ways in which we are tracking what's happening, especially, again, in this environment where we have, it seems very clear, an administration that is not very focused on making sure that we're getting accurate data. And it's just so much volatility. And so, that's where I really encourage all of us to embrace that we are, and to your point, we are the expert in our own experience. We know what we are seeing when we go to the grocery store. We need to be posting about that. We need to be posting about that as we're young people. Well, I'm pointing to you. I'm like on the borderline, I think, of being young. But, young people, business owners, consumers, all of it, it's like we got to get our stories out there, because I don't think that we can rely on the government reporting, even in an environment where we didn't have Trump, to be totally accurate. Again, just given how unpredictable the policy making is right now. So we've got to get getting out there and making sure that we're telling our own story.
Right there. I mean, the bottom line is he fires the commissioner of the Bureau of Labor Statistics because he doesn't like the numbers, but he liked the numbers when they made him look good. And so I don't see how we can trust any numbers coming out every month, because Trump can order them to rig them.
Yeah, I mean, now that we've gotten rid of the person who was bipartisan, confirmed by the Senate, who was also confirmed by, a Senator J.D. Vance, right? Who, like, current vice president pick from Donald Trump himself, he supported the person who was leading this agency with the labor statistics. And so, yeah, I mean, I think you're right, Roland. Last month I was pushing back on you a little bit because, suggesting something funny was going on with the numbers beyond just the normal adjustment. I stand by my push.
Yeah, you were, and I was like, okay, I don't trust these people.
I stand by, but I think I do think that what just happened actually is probably so we don't know what everything is going on in this administration, of course, but it does seem like this was evidence that, to your point, whatever was happening before they were cool with. As soon as it went against their way, and these were negative numbers, they're like, "Oh, we got to get you out of here." And so, to me, that actually is somewhat persuasive that what we just saw about July is probably accurate, and they don't know what to do about it, and they don't like it now. It's very clear that it's out there, and so they're just trying to eliminate what they view as the problem, which is someone who is actually trying to do their job. So yeah, where we go?
Yeah, they which is what they're good at. Oh, let's get rid of the bad news so we can lie to people, and he can keep saying, "Oh no, that's fake news. Fake news. It's great. It's wonderful. It's amazing. It's unbelievable. The greatest number, the biggest numbers, the biggest number ever."
Right. But here's the point, and this is also why there's sometimes this lag, or we have to have these corrections. Is yes, there's the technical survey, science, and blah blah blah. But what is this? This is businesses that are reporting what their experience is in the economy. This is households reporting what their experience is in the economy. That is the data that feeds up into these numbers. Turns out, what are all of us living out here, either as consumers buying things or as people working at businesses and as employees getting laid off? Hopefully not, but it clearly is happening at a lot of companies right now, or running our own business. And so again, we have to be very, very upfront and loud about what the truth is, what is really what are the real economic impacts of all of this insanity that is happening in Washington. And that's for all of us, no matter where you're living, to really show those true stories so that we can counteract all of the hype that undoubtedly they're going to try to be pushing, and that's not based in reality.
Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. Listen to what I'm about to tell you. The window to invest in Fanbase is closing. We've raised over $10.6 million of our $17 million goal. That means there's room for less than 6,370 people to invest in Fanbase for the average amount. The minimum to invest in Fanbase right now is $399. That makes you an owner in Fanbase today. Go to startengine.com/fanbase to invest. Why? Because current social apps have taken advantage of users for far too long, with content suppression, shadow banning, harmful racist content, and no real tools for monetization and equity. Fanbase has over 1.4 million users and counting, allowing anyone to reach all their following and monetize their content from day one. Social media is the new TV, and whoever owns the apps that distribute that content have the opportunity to own potential billion-dollar companies. While big platforms with uncertain futures are failing to serve their users, Fanbase is stepping up to fill the gap. Don't wait until it's too late. Invest now, invest for yourself and your future. Go to startengine.com/fanbase and own the next generation of social media.